Yo, this is Sparing Myself the Pain, a rundown of all the negative things that I'll miss out on by being a marriage free and child free woman. Let's get into it. Painful thing number 10, other parents. Yes, let's talk about other parents. If you spent any amount of time on social media, you would have noticed the amount of competition and judgment between parents. And it's not even limited to like school age kids. It starts like from birth. I see these posts from these obnoxious ass mombies who will brag about having like an unmedicated home birth, bragging about breastfeeding for 2 straight years, bragging about using cloth diapers or, making homemade baby food. And it's like they're not just sharing their experience, they're posting this shit to try to make other parents look bad or feel bad. I know condescension when I see it and when I hear it. I know judgment when I see it and when I hear it. How they go on and on and on about how, oh yeah, the human body is meant to do this when posting about their birth experience because they wanted to have, a baby in a damn kiddie pool in the middle of their living room with like 20 people watching. Like, okay, you really think this shit makes you superior? You really think that suffering through hours of pain makes you better than other people? It doesn't make you a hero, it makes you stupid. Okay, this is no different than somebody walking around with like a massive headache and refusing to take ibuprofen. Okay, if somebody posted, you know what, I've had a headache for the last 6 hours, but the human body is meant to withstand this kind of pain, you would think that they were mentally handicapped, wouldn't you? You would think that they had some kind of issues or that they were, just desperate for attention, or maybe they were like mentally ill and were off their meds. Suffering through excruciating pain by choice is not a heroic act. It's fucking dumb. And that judgment and the competition carries on after the birth to like when they started hitting their milestones. You have somebody post a video of like a baby that's like 9 or 10 months old, like crawling or learning to pull up, and you'll have some asshole in the comments and be like, my son started crawling at 5 months. Like, who the fuck asked you? Who asked? Why does everything need to be a contest or a competition about, babies reaching milestones, at what age they started crawling, at what age they start walking, how old they were when they said their first word? It's like, are you really that desperate for attention? Are you really that sad and pathetic that you have to, use babies as a way to feel superior to other people? Babies. That shit is so sad. And then you have parents who are just super, super permissive. It's like their child can do no wrong at all. They do a whole lot of wrong, but they'll just wave it off, laugh it off. They have, kids who are destructive, who are aggressive towards other people. They don't have any kind of respect for other people's personal space or property. And not even just little kids either. Little kids who are like 6 and younger don't really know any better. But I would expect by the time they are like able to read on their own, they should be able to understand basic social skills. They should know that it's not okay to just, wander into somebody else's yard to play with their dog without asking. They should know that it's not okay for them to, wander around a restaurant, bothering people while they're trying to eat. By the time they're like 7, they should know not to do that. But you have these parents or these breeders who would not take any amount of time to teach their children basic social skills. They are in restaurants running around, screaming at the top of their lungs, throwing food, They're in the movie theater talking throughout the entire thing. Why? What is the reason? I mean, you do realize they aren't going to be kids forever. And if you never teach them proper behavior, they're going to be adults still doing these things. You do realize that, right? I have witnessed with my own eyes and my own ears this type of parent who just, of the kids will be kids mindset. I've seen it with my own eyes when you have kids who are old enough to know better, who will throw a fit when they don't get something they want at the store. You know, like they want a toy, they want candy, they want a bag of chips or whatever, and they're told no, and they're just screaming and crying. And these aren't like tiny kids that are like 2. These are kids that are like 9, 10 years old. They are way too old for that bullshit. Way too old. And you have people who will just make excuses and make excuses and make excuses until, these kids are like in high school. Okay, they're acting like this when they're teenagers. They're going to end up in legal trouble. They're going to end up being arrested. They're going to end up with a record because of these assholes who absolutely refuse to correct this obnoxious asshole behavior. You can correct their behavior without being mean. You don't have to slap the fuck out of them every time they do something wrong. Just say, this is unacceptable. Do this instead. It's not that hard. They're not stupid. And then on the other side, the extreme opposite of these parents who are just like, whatever, let them do whatever they want. You have the ones who are just abusive as shit. Cussing at the kids, slapping them around, beating the hell out of them for no reason. Like, why? What exactly is the reason that you're doing this? Okay, treating them like they're not people, treating them like pets or like dogs or something when they didn't even ask to be here. You're frustrated because what? You're tired. You got some money issues. You want some time to yourself. You having relationship problems. You having some health problems. Newsflash, none of that bullshit is their fault. None of it is their fault. You chose to make them. You chose to have those kids, meaning that any of the issues that you have that are worsened by their existence is 100% your fault. I've actually seen this myself. I've experienced this myself about people, just talking to their kids in any kind of way. They can ask a really simple question and they gotta like just scream at them and snarling and growling like some wild animal. Like, it's so uncalled for. But of course, I would be expected to just be quiet and like, oh, well, that's not your child. You don't get a say so. Fuck all of that shit. I can say whatever the hell I want to. It's that you're dead wrong. I can say that you're wrong because you are. You know, there's this expectation that you know parents of children who have any similar interests, or if they're even in just in the same space, that we're supposed to just talk to each other and make small talk. I hate small talk. Small talk is something that I really, really despise. It's like I don't want to sit there and listen to some random person that I don't even know ramble on about a bunch of bullshit going on in their life. I do not care at all. But it's like if you have kids, whether they're in like daycare, if they're in school, if they're in like any sort of activity like sports or gymnastics or dance, you're expected to talk to the other parents. Okay, even if you just take them to the park. Okay, you take them to the park, you take them to, Chuck E. Cheese or something, you're expected to just strike up a conversation with all of the other parents there. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You know, people do this to me. Even now, I don't have any kids. People would just strike up a conversation and then start telling me about their kids, or like, what grade they're in and they did this or whatever. I don't care. I do not care at all. It is not interesting. And I can only imagine how torturous it would feel to just having these conversations over and over again. I don't care that your 3-year-old is finally potty trained. I don't care what kind of grades your third grader got. I don't care that your, 15-year-old has started to learn how to drive. I do not care at all. And it's like I don't know why this expectation exists anyway. It's like, oh, well, I have kids and you have kids. Let's be friends. It's like, I don't want to be friends with you. I wouldn't want to be your friend if you didn't have any kids because you're a shitty person. Or because you're an annoying person. It's like there are some people out there who are just shitty people or they're just unlikable. But they seem to think that having kids automatically makes them a good person or somebody that other people will want to be around and be friends with. Nope. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Especially if you're a bad parent. Nobody wants to be around you. Nobody wants to be around your kids either if they're poorly behaved. Yeah, these are are the kinds of things that I won't have to deal with by being single and without children. Lucky me. Remember, your life is yours to live, and you don't have to explain yourself to anyone ever.